had a mobile truck to go out in the community.
We do. And we, across South Georgia, we're feeding about 3,000 children a day through our Kids Cafe program. We just opened our kitchen here in Douglas. I guess it's been about 9 months ago now, so we will be expanding our Kids Cafe presence here. We hope to ramp that up now that we've got that kitchen operating.
So Eliza, tell me, what made Second Harvest come to the Douglas-Coffee County area? I guess after looking at the statistics about the hunger issues in the community, what kind of numbers did you see?
Well, across Southwest Georgia, or across South Georgia rather, we have the highest rates of food insecurity and child food insecurity, which is really just a fancy way of saying that you don't know where you're going to get your next meal. We have the highest rates in the state, and we have among some of the highest rates in the nation. 1 in 4 people live in food insecure homes, and it's 1 in 3 for children, which I have 3 small children at home, so statistically one of mine doesn't get to eat tonight, and that's just frightening. So when we were looking at coming to establishing a branch here in Douglas, it was because we knew that we were not reaching the counties that were in our service territory up this far. Albany is still a little bit of a drive, Valdosta is still a little bit of a drive, and we wanted to make it convenient so that the ministries and the organizations here could do as much as possible and can achieve maximum efficiency.
Wow. Well, tell us about your Teachers Harvest program.
Our Teachers Harvest program is a free school supply store that we have in our Valdosta branch. We have it's open 2 days a week. Teachers can come in and get whatever it is that they want, whatever it is that they need. The product is donated to us, and sometimes it's crayons and pencils, and other times it's Lenovo tablets and office chairs. Because it's donated, we never really know exactly what we're going to have. We've seen a huge increase in Coffee County and Atkinson County teachers visiting us. They can come in and shop twice a month, and we've given out about $4 million worth of school supplies.
So you're just not all food?
Not just all food. Well, it comes down to needing to feed the whole child, because these same families that benefit from our Kids Cafe program or that may struggle with food insecurity are not likely to be able to provide that school supply list. I mean, it's usually a pretty hefty list. Our school systems budgets are already very tight, and the teachers end up absorbing that burden. So if we can help them take the burden off the teachers, then the children and the teachers have what they need to make sure that everybody achieves success in the classroom. Kids that do well, kids that achieve in the classroom and are well fed are more likely to be able to provide for themselves and be self-sufficient when they grow up. And that's our end goal long term, is to make sure that we can break the cycle of poverty in South Georgia. Okay, well, who are some of the partnering agencies in this community? First Baptist Church of Douglas, Bethel Family Worship Center, the Children's Advocacy Center, as I said, Boys and Girls Club, a lot of churches, and if I try to list them all, I'm going to end up leaving somebody out.
I know that one.
Yeah.
So if someone wanted to get involved, to contribute to you, I'm sure you have food resources that you receive food from, but if someone in this community wanted to make monetary donation, or do you even allow individuals to say, well, I'm just going to bring some food out there? How does it work?
Absolutely. People can contribute on a lot of different levels. If they want to bring a food donation or host a food drive, if they want to contribute their funds, but they can also contribute time. They can come out and volunteer. That information is on our website at feedingsga.org.
Okay. Okay, great. Do you find that people have a tendency to get involved, and for what reason?
We do. We find a lot of folks that get involved because they've run across somebody that is dealing with food insecurity, that is having trouble making ends meet, or what we see a lot of times is folks who have benefited from our programs and then have gotten on their feet and want to give back to help take care of folks who were in the same position that they were before.
Okay. Well, I guess to sum it all up, my last questions that I would ask to you is that if someone wanted to say, well, I need assistance, I'm not the after-school program. I'm an individual family. Tell us the process they would go to and how they would find you and where people can go to look for more of your information.
Right. On our website, it's feedingsga.org/gethelp, or there's an icon on the bottom of the screen. You can go in and put in your address, and you can search for our partner agency that is closest to you or closest to your place of business, and it has operational hours and contact information. Reach out to them, and they can help to serve you. If you don't get anywhere from there, then you can call us. All the contact information is there on the website,
Okay.
and we will make sure that people get taken care of.
Well, great. Any other details about Second Harvest before you leave today?
Not that I can think of. We would welcome people to volunteer if they want to come get a tour.
Okay.
Because it really does take seeing things to understand what kind of scale we're talking about. So if people want to have a tour, call and we'll get something scheduled.
Okay. Is there a phone number you want to give for the viewers?
They can reach us by calling 229-244-2678.
Okay. Well, great. And thank you for being here today.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity.
All right. We'll be back with more Douglas on My Mind right after this break. We're back from break, and thanks for continuing to watch the Douglas on My Mind show. Joining me now is Ms. Perrette Morris, who is the director at our local Salvation Army. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we're glad to have you here. Just want to talk and just remind people again about the Salvation Army. If you would, just give us an overview of your organization and what it is that you do.
Okay. The Salvation Army is a nonprofit organization, and we are a church. We do not have a church facility here in Coffee County, but we do have them in Waycross and Valdosta and Albany, Macon and Brunswick. Hopefully one day we will have a church here, but we have got to, we've got to start the ground roots and start having like a Bible study, a regular Bible study, and once we get up to a certain members, a certain account of members, then we can see about forming a church here.
Well, I found that interesting. We talked a little bit before we start filming this show, and when you told me that, I never knew that. I was just thinking of the Salvation Army as just a thrift store,
Right.
Because that's what I've seen, and I apologize for my ignorance to that fact, but I found that very interesting to know. So thanks for sharing that.
Yes.
Wanted to bring you on also because this time of year, I don't know, and you can tell us, do you see where you start getting more requests from the community for service requests, for assistance?
We do, because a lot of the businesses will close down during the last part of November, first part of December, and they will take time to clean their plants and all, and then they give the employees time to be home with their families. So with that, a lot of times they'll lose a couple of weeks of income. So during that time, we do see a reflux of people needing assistance with their rent or with their lights.
Is that your primary assistance request that you receive from some of the laid off industry workers?
That, and then too, they may need help with Christmas for their kids. They're, with the loss of the income for a week or two, then usually that's the salary that they were looking to buy Christmas for their children. And so then we, whenever that happens, we will sign them up for the Angel Tree program. And what they do is they fill out an application stating, that their income has been cut, and they show that there has been a loss of income, and we will put those children's name on our Christmas list, and we'll fill out an angel and we'll put it on a tree. We'll have the child's sizes and things that they would like to have or things that they may need, and we'll put the child's name on a Christmas tree, and that child's name will be adopted, and someone will go and purchase for that child for Christmas. The donor will bring those items back to us, and then we will distribute them to the families.
How many years have you been doing the Angel Tree program?
I've been with the Salvation Army 10 years. This will be my 11th Christmas.
Okay. What are the type of community assistance programs do you offer, and how are you able to provide that assistance?
We do have a food pantry. So, you know, if someone is, like I said, laid off of work or short of income, we can see about providing them with a bag of groceries. And I call it, it's more like a double bag because I pack them kind of heavy. We do shelter assistance. If someone has lost their home to a fire, then we can see about putting them in a shelter or see about putting them up for a couple of days to help out until they can find somewhere else to go. If it's someone that is homeless and they need a period of time to stay somewhere, we do have shelters in Brunswick, Savannah, and Macon. So we can refer them to those shelters.
Okay. And how is it possible for you to provide these services? Where do you get your support from?
We get our support from the donations that we receive within the community. You'll see our back porch loaded down with donations, and we pick the very best of everything that comes through. If something is stained or torn or broken, we cannot use those items, so we use those as recycled goods. But the good products, we put them in the store, and with every dollar that we receive or that we receive in purchases, 80 cents stays locally, and that 80 cents, I can use that to help with rent, lights, shelter, food, so forth. 10% goes to our disaster program that helps us whenever there's a hurricane, tornado, earthquake, fires. And then we can go in and we can help individuals that have been affected by a disaster, but then too we're able to help the first responders. Then 10% is for our overhead. So 90% goes back to help, whether locally or with it nationally.
That's awesome. I want to back up a little bit to talk about it. When you said you get a lot mainly from your donations,
Yes.
What are the hours of operation that people need to come in and make those donations?
If you would bring your donations during the hours that we're there, we are open from 8:30 to 5. We ask that donations be received by 4 o'clock so we can get them in and out of the weather. We have to have we're supposed to have all of our stuff in before we leave. Anything that's left after hours, they're susceptible to being destroyed, taken, or damaged. So we like to receive our donations, be able to tell our donors, thank you for your contribution today, and encourage them to help us the next time.
Okay. Well, 2 programs that you talked about, you mentioned your Angel Tree and that you all have a disaster, 10% go to your disaster program.
Correct.
Tell us about your kettle program that you have.
Our kettle program, that's our largest fundraiser that we have, but all of that will also go to help with the utilities and rent and shelter and food. But our kettle goal this year is $28,000. We have kettles set up today at Harvey's on Ward Street. The Coffee County Middle School Honor Society and 4-H'ers are ringing bells for us today. They started ringing on Saturday for us. And so all of that will go to help with our local assistance.
Well, it's almost like it goes hand in hand with the holiday season as you approach the stores, and before you go in, you see the Salvation Army out there with the bell ringers, I call them. But they're ringing the bell, trying to get your attention and get those donations. So please do drop in the kettle as you enter the stores. As you said, it goes for a great cause.
It does.
How often do you have job opportunities or opportunities for volunteers at your center?
We have quite a few volunteers at this time. We have about 8 volunteers right now, but we welcome volunteers. We do have to do an application process, and we have to do a background check on volunteers. Also, right now we have a position as a clerk, warehouse worker, and those applications can be filled out online.
Okay.
I'm also looking for a store manager at this time, so that application can also be filled out online.
Okay.
That is www.salvationarmycareers.org.
All right, and you have a presence on social media as well,
Yes,
right?
we do.
Facebook page?
We have a Facebook page, yes, we do.
Okay.
And besides the applications for employment, if anyone would like to ring the bells at this time, we are still accepting volunteers for ringing the bells.
Okay. Now, I know, Perrette, a lot of people this time of year and all year round ask you, the Salvation Army, for handouts and different assistance, but what do you need from the community?
just keep the donations coming of the goods that we receive, because we receive the largest quantity and the better quality of donations in the state for Coffee County.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being
Thank
here,
you.
and thank you representing the Salvation Army
Yes,
and
ma'am.
all that you do inside this community and even outside of it.
Thank you.
All right. We'll be back with more Douglas on My Mind right after this.